The front door clicked shut behind me at 9:47 p.m. I was exhausted, my feet aching from a double shift at the hospital where I worked as a nurse. All I wanted was to collapse on the couch with a cup of tea and maybe catch the end of whatever show was on TV. I didn't even get my shoes off before I heard the sharp click of heels on our hardwood floor. My 17-year-old daughter Madison appeared in the hallway, her face flushed with anger, her arms crossed tightly across her chest. "Mom, finally," she snapped, her voice dripping with exasperation. Before I could respond, before I could even process what was happening, she grabbed my wrist and pulled me toward the kitchen. The movement was so sudden, so aggressive that I stumbled forward. "Madison, what? Can't you read the clock?" she shouted, gesturing wildly at the kitchen clock that read 9:48. "Get to the kitchen, you were supposed to be home 2 hours ago." I stood there in shock, my work bag still hanging from my shoulder, trying to understand what had just happened. My daughter, my sweet girl who used to greet me with hugs and questions about my day, had just physically grabbed me and was now pointing imperiously at the kitchen counter. "Madison, I worked a double shift. Mrs. Patterson called in sick and—" "I don't care about your excuses." She was nearly in tears now, her voice breaking. You promised you'd be home by 7:30. How could you forget?" That's when I saw it. On the kitchen counter sat a beautiful 3-tiered cake, slightly lopsided but decorated with obvious care. Pink frosting roses adorned the sides, and in shaky but earnest lettering across the top, it read, "Happy 25th anniversary, Mom and Dad." My heart dropped into my stomach. Behind the cake were serving dishes covered with aluminum foil, condensation still clinging to the inside. The good china was set out on the dining table, which I could now see through the doorway, candles burned low in their holders, wax pooling at the base. 2 place settings sat untouched, the napkins folded into elaborate shapes I recognized from a YouTube tutorial Madison had been watching weeks ago. "Oh honey," I whispered, all the anger at being grabbed evaporating instantly. "Oh Madison, I'm so sorry." "You forgot," she said, and now the tears were flowing freely. "Dad's been gone for 3 years and I thought I wanted to make this special. I wanted us to remember him together, to celebrate what you two had. I've been cooking since I got home from school. I made his favorite pot roast, those scalloped potatoes he loved, the green bean casserole from Grandma's recipe." She sank into one of the kitchen chairs, her face in her hands. "I even tried to make his stupid flourless chocolate cake, the one he always made on your anniversary. It took me 4 tries. 4 tries, Mom, and you didn't even remember." I knelt beside her chair, my own eyes now burning with tears. The weight of the day, the exhaustion, the grief we'd both been carrying for 3 years, it all came crashing down. "You're right," I said softly. "You're absolutely right, I forgot. I've been so focused on getting through each day, on making sure the bills are paid and that we're surviving, that I forgot to remember. I forgot to honor your dad the way he deserved." Madison looked up at me, mascara streaking down her cheeks. "I just wanted one night where we remembered the good times, where we celebrated him instead of just being sad. Is that so wrong?" "It's not wrong at all, it's beautiful." I reached up and smoothed her hair back from her face, the way I used to when she was little. "And I'm sorry I wasn't here. But Madison, you can't grab me like that. You can't speak to me that way, no matter how hurt or angry you are." She nodded, fresh tears spilling over. "I know, I'm sorry. I've been waiting for hours, watching the food get cold, watching the candles burn down, and I felt so alone. I felt like I was the only one who still cared about Dad." "Oh, sweetheart." I pulled her into my arms and she collapsed against me the way she used to when she was small. I care so much it hurts. Maybe that's why I've been trying not to think about it. Maybe I've been running from the grief instead of facing it." We stayed like that for a long moment, holding each other in our kitchen, surrounded by her loving labor, both of us crying for the man we'd lost and the pain we'd been carrying separately. Finally, I pulled back and looked at her tear-stained face. "Is it too late?" "What?" "Is it too late for dinner, for our anniversary celebration?" A small smile broke through her tears. "The food's probably cold." "Then we'll heat it up, and I want to hear all about how you made that cake. Your dad would be so proud of you." We spent the next 20 minutes reheating the dishes Madison had so carefully prepared. I changed out of my scrubs into something more appropriate for a special dinner. When I came back down, Madison had fixed her makeup and relit the candles. We sat at the dining table, and Madison served the food she'd spent hours making. The pot roast was tender and flavorful, seasoned exactly the way her father used to make it. The scalloped potatoes were creamy and perfect. The green bean casserole was a little overdone, but neither of us minded. As we ate, we talked about him. Madison shared memories I'd never heard before. little moments between her and her father that she kept close to her heart. I told her stories about our early years together, about the man he was before she was born, about how becoming a father had changed him in the most beautiful ways. He used to wake up early on Saturdays, I said, just to make you those elaborate breakfast creations. Remember, he'd make pancakes shaped like animals or French toast cut into stars. Madison laughed through new tears. I remember, and he'd do all the voices for the different foods. The bacon was always a superhero, and the eggs were the villain trying to escape the plate. We talked until the candles burned out completely, until the clock read well past midnight. When we finally cut into the flourless chocolate cake, lopsided and slightly burnt on one side, but made with so much love, it tasted perfect. As I took my first bite, I realized something. In her anger, in her desperation to make me remember, Madison had given me a gift. She'd reminded me that grief doesn't have to mean forgetting, that honoring someone's memory doesn't have to hurt, that we could celebrate the love we'd had without drowning in the loss. Madison, I said as we cleared the dishes together, thank you. For yelling at you, she asked with a small, embarrassed smile. For remembering, for caring enough to do all this, for not letting me run away from the memories anymore. I paused, choosing my words carefully, but we need to talk about how we handle anger and disappointment. Grabbing me, yelling at me that way, that's not okay, even when you're hurt. She nodded seriously. I know, I felt terrible the second I did it. I was just so frustrated and sad. I understand, but we have to find better ways to communicate, okay, for both our sakes. Okay, Mom. That night marked a turning point for us. We started a new tradition. The 25th of every month, we'd have dinner together and share a memory of Dad. Some months it was elaborate, other months it was just take-out pizza at the kitchen counter, but we always made time to remember. And I never worked a double shift on our anniversary again.